Weight is often the central focus for any discussion around bikes, components, and camping gear. You'll have noticed that I don't emphasize weight very often on this channel, and that's because it matters so much less than you think. Don't get me wrong, there are some great reasons to use lightweight gear, and we'll discuss them all later in this video. But if you're trying to reduce weight to go significantly faster, you're probably barking up the wrong tree. Today, we'll find out the time penalty of each extra kilogram that you add to your bike or equipment. We'll then compare these time penalties to other forms of cycling resistance. Let's start by putting weight into context. When you ride your bike up a hill, it's not just the bike weight that you are hauling. You are also pushing your body, clothes, shoes, water, food, pump, spare tube, and any luggage you might be carrying. Your body weight makes up the majority of this load. It's often more than 80% of the total. While a bike that's 10% lighter than another feels really impressive when you lift it up, it often only reduces your total weight by 1%, which is now sounding much less impressive. Shaving grams off bikes and equipment is often a very expensive pursuit too. 1 kilogram can be the difference between a $200 tent and a $600 tent, a $600 steel frame and a $1,600 titanium frame, or a $3,100 gravel bike and a $6,200 gravel bike. Additionally, lightweight products are sometimes much less durable. I find this with zippers, waterproof fabrics, aluminium cassettes and hub bodies, tyres and rims in particular. Alright, let's find out how weight affects cycling speed. My journey to being less obsessed with weight began when I stumbled upon a website called Bike Calculator, which after filling in all the parameters could predict my cycling speed using a mathematical model. I tested it out using my power output, body weight, bike weight, and gear weight. I then created a simple 100 kilometer ride profile that went 5 kilometers up, then 5 kilometers down, 10 times, each with a 3.6% gradient. The total elevation gain was around 1,800 meters. I got time predictions on 4 different luggage weights so that I could work out the time per extra kilogram on my course. It turned out that a kilogram should add between 76 and 80 seconds over 100 kilometers. And even if I reduced my power output by 30% or set the parameters to a smaller rider with a lower power output, a kilogram was still only worth 2 minutes. Considering that my route had quite a lot of climbing, a minute or two after 4 to 5 hours of riding was significantly less than I expected, so I decided to conduct my own weight experiment. I rode my bike, fitted with a power meter and 2 large panniers, on a 15.4 kilometer route which offered 265 meters of climbing. I pedaled along at 200 watts, which was a power rate that I knew I could sustain over a full day of testing. The route was well sheltered, significantly reducing any hindrances from the wind. It was designed to mimic a day of cycling in the hills, whereby around 1,800 meters of elevation would be gained over 100 kilometers. I conducted 2 test runs with 3 different luggage weights, and here are my results. After around 40 minutes of riding, I saw a 2 to 3 minute difference per lap as I piled on the weight. As these numbers are a little abstract, let's extrapolate them to 100 kilometers to see how closely they match Bike Calculator's prediction of 78 seconds per extra kilogram. The added time averaged out to be a touch over a minute, suggesting that my perception of how weight affected cycling speed was indeed a bit off. Bike Calculator was within just 1.5 and 4.5 minutes of my outdoor testing times, which I think is impressive considering the simple ride profile I created only matched the distance and elevation gain. I'm sure the accuracy would improve further if I spent the time to make the gradients correct. I later attempted an outdoor weight test on flat roads. It turned out that whether I carried 5 kilograms or 25 kilograms, I couldn't find any significant difference in speed at 200 watts. Feeling confused, I fed my parameters into Bike Calculator, and it predicted that I should be just 10 seconds slower per extra kilogram over 100 kilometers. I guess that explains why my speeds were so similar. Weight really doesn't matter on the flat. Alright, so the data and mathematical models suggest that a kilogram probably won't slow you down that much. But there are a few instances when focusing on lightweight bikes and equipment is completely justified, in my opinion. Number 1, you do actually race. The difference between winning and losing is sometimes measured in millimeters. 1 kilogram less is going to help here, and the benefits of that weight saving only increase the longer and more mountainous your race. Number 2, to improve bike handling and feel. Heavy bikes don't feel as snappy or responsive when accelerating or cornering, making them feel a little less inspiring to ride. They are also significantly less agile when you overload them with all your luggage. Number 3, to use a bike that isn't designed to carry heavy loads. If you've seen my video describing the differences between bikepacking and touring bikes, you'll know that touring bikes are stiffer and are built with a slew of overbuilt components specifically to handle high luggage weights. But here's the deal, if you can keep your luggage weight to a minimum, you can reliably travel on almost any bike, not just a touring bike. Number 4, to make lifting your bike easier. There are many instances where you might need to carry your bike. For example, I'm often carrying my bike on hiker bike sections of trail, as well as up and down stairs in apartment blocks, hotels and train stations. And number 5, to make flying cheaper. A few extra kilograms can really add up when you get to the airport. Make sure to keep your bike light enough so that you don't get caught out with crazy fees. Okay, let's talk about the factors that are often more important than weight when it comes to cycling speed. Bike Calculator predicts that 5 extra kilograms adds 2.5% more time on my 100 kilometer Hilly ride profile, and it's just 0.4% more time on a flat profile. We can compare these time percentages to the 2 other main forms of cycling resistance, rolling and aerodynamic resistance. If I fit some of the slowest rolling touring tyres to my bike instead of the fastest rolling ones, my Hilly route would require 12% more time to complete. In this case, rolling resistance is almost 5 times more significant than adding 5 kilograms to my bike, and it's 30 times more significant on the flat profile. That said, these numbers are particularly big because I'm comparing the fastest tyres with some of the slowest. But even if we compare tyres closer to the middle of this list, the rolling resistance still works out to be more significant than the extra 5 kilograms of weight. I'll link my rolling resistance article on Cycling About below. Through my aerodynamic testing on a flat velodrome, I've found between 6.4 and 7.9% extra ride time was required to cover 100 kilometers when using panniers instead of bikepacking bags. This means that a change in luggage setup on a flat ride could be 16 to 20 times more significant in terms of time than if I added 5 kilograms of extra luggage to my bike. You can see my list of aero savings for bike travelers in this video up here. In summary, the data is quite clear. Bike weight is not as important as you think. My real-world testing, along with the numbers from the mathematical models, suggest that a kilogram extra weight will likely add 1 or 2 minutes on a hilly 100 kilometer bike ride. And on a flat route, a kilogram is likely worth 10 or 20 seconds. This is worth thinking about the next time you find yourself obsessing over bike and gear weight. Perhaps you could use this information to save $1,000 or $2,000 by choosing a steel bike rather than titanium. Or when your ultralight gear wears out, maybe you could replace it with something more durable. You could even pack a thicker, more comfortable sleeping pad and get a night of better sleep. If you like my bike nerd content, please consider supporting this channel over on Patreon, or alternatively, grab one of my books. The Touring and Bikepacking Bike Buyer's Guides are updated yearly for free and will teach you everything you need to know about the bikes before allowing you to compare over 220 different bikes at the back of the book.